Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing?
Jaren, I'm melting.
Matt, that's sad. That's real sad, Matt. But hopefully, to help cool us down, I don't know what that means, but joining us is another one of our best friends in the whole wide world, Julian. Hey, Julian. How are you doing?
Hey, not so hot here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of cooled down considerably.
And I was going to ask Julian, just because here, at least in our general area, it is a scorcher right now. I think it feels like around mid to high 40s. At least it was earlier today. I think it's still mid 40s where we're at right now. So unfortunately for our dog, can't walk her just yet. But I just wanted to take, a few seconds off the top to give a special shout out to my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt and Rakush, who just a bit of some housekeeping, I guess, came through and helped your boy pack a big storage container where Matt, God admit, always forget how secretly strong Matt is, just because some of the things he lifted yesterday by himself, man, forgot how much stat points Matt has in the strength and even the speed.
You gotta be careful, man. With our age, you gotta be careful about your knees and your back.
No, it's okay. I don't use mine, so they're still in pretty okay condition.
I remember in our youths when we were just running in the mall parking lot, because that's what we do as youths, just running in the mall parking lot. Matt also kind of beasted us when we were also running as well, from what I remember. So special thanks to Matt. Matt, thank you for helping me move. And thanks to Rakush for helping me move and pack a storage container. Real talk, Matt, we loaded our storage container yesterday. Over under, how likely is everything melted inside that storage container right now?
Jaren, that storage container is so far. Jaren, I think the thing I'm the most concerned about is packing wrapped it's like that kind of blue felt-ish table that you have. I am very concerned on how that one is holding up in particular.
When we end up in our new residence, Matt, you'll be one of the first people to know what happens to that coffee table as well. But we're here another week full of mistakes, full of friendship as well. Would have invited you to help, Julian, but you're not in a area that can help someone move, but maybe next time. But Julian, you haven't joined us in a bit, and hate to admit it, we usually call on you when some new games come out. And Julian, you've been playing a new game that's actually been on my radar for a bit. But Julian, can you tell us what it's like to date everything?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. So I think my primary concern, I guess we're just going into it, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess my primary concern with Date Everything before it came out was they kind of touted that there would be over 100 dateables. It's what they kind of called it. And then I am a fan of dating sims, and I've played a lot of dating sims in my life, I guess. And I think my concern was how deep can a dating sim really be if there's over 100-ish people, I guess, or dateables or objects. And I think that was kind of my primary concern going in, because okay, it can't be that deep because it'll be, there's going to be a lot of dateables. But I think they struck a pretty okay balance. So I guess the premise of the game is you are stuck in your home, you start working from home, and then you're immediately fired on the first day.
Damn.
And then you receive a mysterious package where you get a pair of glasses that you put on, and the glasses allows you to see into I can't remember the phrase they call it, but it's the object wavelength or something, wherein every item or object has this wavelength that manifests into a person. And then that's when you are able to kind of interact with them. And then in that interaction, you pick dialogue trees, and then at the end of the day, there's 3 states you can end up with each object, which is love, hate, and friend. And there's no like particular reason for you to choose one over the other. Like you can kind of like have everyone hate you, or have everyone be your friend, or have everyone like love you. It's kind of just depending on whether you choose the right options, or if you intentionally kind of go for that thing. But yeah, I guess my thing with it is like it's fun, wherein it isn't as deep as a lot of other dating sims, but it is like there's over 100, so I think it kind of just becomes more of a collection situation,
right.
Where you're kind of like, they have I think they're pretty upfront about it, because in like your menu there's something called the data dex, so kind of like a Pokedex kind of situation where you're kind of collecting things, and I think a lot of the fun comes into like finding the datables, because there are some like pretty puzzly type scenarios, or like pretty fun ways to kind of find specific datables. So for example, you can date the air, and then in order to date the air, you have to like turn on the air conditioner first. So like there's kind of like a small puzzle part. Okay. And then there's even parts where like you're not really like there's things that you wouldn't think would work but then actually do work. So I think like the one I did yesterday, which was pretty fun, was there's a button to kind of watch the credits. So I put on the credits, and then I clicked the date button, and it actually triggered. And it went to the speed round where you were dating all the devs.
Nice.
And that was pretty fun.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then there's like one where it's like if you stay still for like over I think 10 to 20 seconds and stare at the wall, you get to date your existential dread, because you're kind of just like staring, and that's pretty fun. So there's like, I think the big thing about it is the kind of that finding of the puzzle of trying to find out like all the datables, and I think that's kind of where the fun is.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. You guys have any questions about it?
Yeah, because I think I've been so intrigued about the rollout to this game since once it was initially, revealed that, hey, you can date everything, all these different objects become personified when you look at them, where that was always my concern as well, just the level of depth, just because with all the dating sims that I'm even used to, or even pseudo dating sims, like the Persona games, for example, you do have a smaller cast of potential romance options to choose from, but at the same time, there's still this notion of progress of storytelling, especially for proper visual novels, where with the rollout for Date Everything, it mostly seemed like more so, not necessarily, I don't want to say gimmick, because I think gimmick is too harsh, but it really did seem like they were just touting, hey, you can date everything, where it does feel like a character collector at the end of the day. And, hopefully people aren't soured with Julian revealing the credits, date option, or existential dread. But even at the same time, those were two examples of potential love interest, quote unquote, that were shown in the kind of press or in the lead up to actual release. Where I guess my question to you, Julian, is with over 100 different characters, with your time so far, do you think you found them all, or do you think there's still quite a hefty number of love interest to find? And kind of at the end, does the fact that you're essentially trying to figure out what you can date, does that quote unquote gimmick wear thin early on, or is it something that is able to sustain itself throughout your entire playtime?
So I think there's two things. I think is like one, like the voice cast is like crazy, so I think there is a sense of entertainment of like picking an object and then like hearing that voice, and you're like, I know that person. So that kind of adds to it as well. But I think just to kind of go back to what you're saying, like the idea of, so usually you can only date, quote unquote, a person like once a day, and then like you have like 5 dates a day, and then it moves to the next day. And then generally what it's trying to kind of force you to do is to try to kind of extend your interactions with these people, because you can only interact with them once per day.
Right.
And basically, I think the quickest like I got to a love status with an object that wasn't a joke, because there is a joke character that like it becomes love immediately. But the quickest where it's like I kind of went through their whole story was like within 4 days. So like 4 interactions.
Okay.
So basically, like within 4 interactions, you're already kind of like in a state where you can either be a love, friend, or hate. And in that sense, it is kind of quick. And also, like, I guess they try to mitigate this by sometimes the objects also appearing in other, like, interactions with other objects. So, like, an object that you had interacted with before can kind of show up in a different one. So there is kind of that, but at the same time, when they kind of show up, they're kind of just showing up as a guest, so they're not really referencing anything that you have done with them, and sometimes it kind of overlaps because you might have like a love state with them, and then suddenly now they're dating someone else, right? So there's kind of like a weird overlap of like, it's kind of like non-canonical in a way, where it's like they're not really referencing like kind of what you did.
I hate to say
so
it, so it's like Persona, right, Julian?
Yeah, in a lot of senses. It's that idea of I guess like you're dating one of the girls, and then like I guess it's their way around it, where like when everyone's together in a group, it's never referenced. Yeah, and I guess like I think like you kind of use the word gimmick, and I think when I was playing this game, I think that kind of, and it's like I'm not trying to like, I guess try to be too harsh on it, because it is like a very good, it's good at what it's doing. It is fun, it is entertaining, and like you do have a lot of interactions, and it is like you will get like hours worth of entertainment if you play it. But I think, and there's gonna be like me just yapping for a bit, maybe.
Okay, no worries.
So stop me if I am yapping too much. But I think my thing with this game is that I think it has made me like really sit down and think about how there is kind of like an epidemic of like dating sims that are gimmicks, like gimmick dating sims. And most modern dating sims, I find these days, are more gimmicks than they are actually dating sims, wherein they try to hide within the veil of irony and comedy. And I think unfortunately, I think there's a fear of like a dating sim being considered to be cringe. I think there's so much of a fear of that now most dating sims that come out these days have a fear of being a bit more like genuine, I guess, if that makes sense. Because like if I think about like older dating sims, like when I was in high school, like, you know, like Amagami or like Claned or something like that, like there was a genuine attempt at like kind of having a story that is like authentic and is trying to tell a story, trying to make connections. Even like a more recent one, which is Our Story, which is a good dating sim that kind of starts from like childhood to like when you're an adult and you're kind of forming this relationship with this person. I think nowadays there's such a fear of like being cringe or being seen as cringe, and maybe that's just me like thinking about it or thinking too much about this, but I think like there's this fear of like of being cringe, that now there has to be a veil of like gimmick or comedy. And this isn't just to date anything, because there's a lot of like dating sims nowadays. Like I like Monster Prom, but Monster Prom is also very like comedy, gimmicky. Thinking about the Dead by Daylight dating sim, like that one, I played that one, and that was also kind of similar like that. So I don't know, like I guess I am noticing a pattern is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think for me, with the modern dating sim scene, and again, maybe this is just also me projecting, but growing up, it was such a niche genre to, I guess, just gaming audiences, where with the sudden, I think I've really enjoyed my time with Dream Daddy, and I'm not
Yeah, Dream Daddy's a good one. Yeah.
saying that Dream Daddy falls into the same realm as where I see modern, or at least, I hate to be the snob, but mainstream dating, uh, or visual novels or dating games. But I feel like there was a turn when, with the success of Dream Daddy, I felt like there was this attempt to kind of make it more a genre really more accessible, and in
Yeah.
turn that leans into the more um, comedy, the more irony, where it's less about the stories that I'm used to or the ones I've played growing up, and it's more so trying to showcase kind of that witty humor that you would kind of expect from a modern indie game. And I know I'm just rambling right now, where maybe that's my fault for not, again, digging into the games that are hailed as really big standards in the niche visual novel community, and looking towards the ones that are being more heavily promoted by using the quote unquote gimmicks that help stand them apart. But Matt, as someone who also has played their fair share of kind of visual novels and even dating sims in the past, how's kind of your feel for the modern, or at least the more commercial dating sim games of, I guess, this era?
I mean, I guess like dating sims are, while I have like played a handful, I think I kind of do definitely lean into the super casual side of it. And, like you said, dating sims are kind of a very niche genre. Kind of bringing up the ones Julian brought up before, like Amagami and Clannad. Those are very, I guess, like traditional dating sims. And I feel like if those just like don't immediately appeal to you, you're probably not going to break in without a gimmick.
Yeah.
And I think you do need the gimmick to pull in somebody who is going to be, I guess, like, for lack of a better word here, like, I guess, like, turned off by the kind of styling of Clannad or Amagami. Like, I'm kind of just like going through like lists of dating games and just looking at the ones that I like immediately recognize. Like, they all have their own, I guess, funny or unique gimmick. Like How to Full Boyfriend, like,
right?
Like you have like the characters. You have Emily is Away has like the very unique interface. I think honestly the most traditionalist one that I've played still did have a gimmick of like Katawa Shoujo, where like that is probably the most traditional dating game I played, but it does still have the kind of gimmick of all the girls are like disabled in some way, and that like brings a unique kind of like pull to it as well. And yeah, I think like without those, there's not enough of a pull for me to, I guess, like seek out a dating sim that has, for the most part, like normal characters, which seems, I don't know, like a weird way to kind of like, pigeonhole the characters that are in this type of game.
Right. Yeah. And again, I fully admit this is just me being a tourist of this genre in particular, where I'm sure if I were to really dig deep into it, yes, there might still be that. I still feel like gimmick's such a harsh term, but there's that unique factor that is trying to make it stand out into an otherwise niche genre. And I'm sure those games still exist, even the more traditional ones. But at the same time, I do feel like the ones that are at least being fed to me in my Steam algorithm, or like my homepage or whatever, it is of a particular sense or type of humor, that, rather than something that is more quote unquote traditional. But I digress. But Julian, going back to Date Everything, just any final thoughts? I know this might went into a weird bummer direction, but is there anything else that, just really you were really impressed by, weirded out by, or just anything in
Yeah.
particular?
Who's your favorite dateable, Julian? Or favorite
Okay.
friendables, or I don't know.
It's gonna suck because like it's technically your tutorial date.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
But but my favorite is the glasses because it's voiced by Felicia Day, and
Glasses.
also
Oh, man.
like, yeah, I'm like into her look. I got the DLC. I got the special like lavish DLC, and she's also like really funny and really good. Like what the way they acknowledge that it's like DLC, and the way it's like, she's like, oh, like since you paid for like dating me, like I'm just gonna give you like free stats, and you know there's a lot of like jokes behind that
Oh,
idea
that's
of
pretty
her
good.
being a DLC. And there's even part of the DLC is like there's like a, I guess like a gacha system, I guess.
I'll speak my language, Julian.
Grass Jaren, grass Jaren.
Yes. Yeah, so there's like the thing is like it is a like not I know I kind of segued into like a general like bummer idea of like kind of like dating sims and stuff, but the game itself would date everything. I think it is doing a really good job of what it's kind of set out to do. The humor is really good when it comes to like the items, like what the interactions are between like you and the items. And I think like I haven't finished it yet, but I think there is like, I mean I could be wrong, but I feel like it's kind of setting up where there is something like sinister going on. Like it's kind of doing
Okay.
that whole like Doki Doki where it's like, oh, this seems like fun at first, but then there's like you're kind of getting hints at the start of like maybe there's a like something a bit more sinister going on, of like some of these objects aren't like objects. So
Mm.
I mean, like I don't want to get into spoilers because it is
Right,
like
right.
something that you get in, and it is a good like breadcrumb to kind of like that. I was like, okay, like this kind of has me hooked.
Actually,
Okay.
But
so I know you said that like each day is like broken into 5, I guess, sections.
yes,
But like how long is that actually in terms of like real life time?
yeah, like I'd say like a couple minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like yeah. So it's like a couple of minutes. Like I don't think they're super long each. I'd say like 5 up to 5
okay,
minutes.
okay.
Yeah, like kind of like you're chatting with them and you're kind of picking your choices. I mean, it does have like a rudimentary like skill system where the more people you're dating, the more skills you're gaining, and it does that persona thing where like some dialogue options are locked unless you have enough, like you have enough courage or you have
Mm.
enough like sass.
Mhm.
So there is things that are locked in, which is like I am finding out that to get like you can finish every date without having to choose those special options, but I am starting to find out online because I am like looking up sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes the best ending, quote unquote, is locked behind a certain skill like gap or skill like check. Which because of who I am as a person, I have to like hold off because I always want the best ending.
Mhm. I feel.
So yeah, yeah. So like that's something to kind of also like think about when you're kind of interacting with some people, because sometimes you can't get their best ending unless you have enough like I guess like skills for it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so but it's good. It's the humor's there. It's really fun. I'm hoping the hooks are actually like kind of gonna get into something, because
Yeah.
there is like hints of it, but I'm not sure because I haven't finished it yet. But yeah,
Last question. How long have you put in so far?
so far around like 8-ish hours.
Okay.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it is sizable. It is like meaty. Like it is, and for the price that you're paying, because I mean I got it on sale when it came out because they had that like first day sale or whatever.
Right.
But for what you are paying, like it is a pretty sizable, a pretty meaty game, and one you wouldn't expect with a dating sim, because I know a lot of like more like modern dating sims are pretty easy, pretty quick to finish.
Okay.
Like the Dead by Daylight one, I think was only like a handful of hours if I recall.
Right.
Man.
Okay.
I'm looking up the
So,
voice
yeah.
actors list for this, and man, you
It's
were not
crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and the
It
amount
is
of
a
like
star-studded cast.
and the amount of goofs I think that are just like between like who people are voicing, pretty good. It's pretty good.
It is like Dante Brasco,
Yeah.
Fire Lord Zuko Rufio,
Mhm.
is playing the fireplace.
Yep.
So Fire Lord, fireplace.
That's pretty
good.
good.
It's good. Good.
Yeah,
It's good,
and
good.
then there's
Yep.
Oh, it's what's it called? Risei from Persona 4. I'm
Mhm.
forgetting
Is that
her
Tara
name. Is it
Strong?
Laura Bailey? Or
I
It's
don't
either
remember
Laura
who
Bailey
voiced
or
her.
Tara Strong.
It wasn't Tara Strong. I don't think it was Tara Strong.
Is that Tara Strong? Okay.
Probably,
no, not Tara Strong.
Yeah, it's probably Laura Bailey.
I'm pretty sure it's Laura Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's Laura Bailey,
she's
yeah.
matched up with. So she's the hamper, and she's matched up with the clothes, and the clothes is the person who voices you in Persona 4.
Oh, that's
So,
pretty good.
When
That's
you're chatting
pretty
with
good.
them, it's just basically you and Risei arguing with each other.
Yeah, it's a good goof. It's a good goof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going
It's a really
through.
good
Matt
goof.
Mercer is a D20, which tracks.
Yes.
That's incredible. Incredible.
For any Baldur's Gate 3 fans, the Neil Newborn is voicing kind of not really, but also is probably very close to Astarion.
Mhm. Legally distinct Astarion.
Yeah, legally
That's
distinct
Yep,
Astarion.
that is. I'm
he has
looking
like
at
the
his picture
shirt.
right now. That is a legally distinct Astarion.
Yeah,
Astarion.
it's a good goof.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So
Yeah,
that-
there's a lot of really good ones,
Yeah.
and there's yeah, it is crazy. Like I don't know how they got that many voice actors.
Mhm.
Guys, I'm a bit disappointed because I looked up. So I googled Garrus voice actor, which is Brendan Keener, and I don't think he's in this game, which makes me real sad.
Damn.
Because I
No.
think that would have also been a pretty good goof as well. But maybe there's DLC. Maybe there even more DLC.
Man.
But that
Man.
is Date Everything available now. Julian, where are you playing it?
PC.
Okay. Were you running it on the Steam Deck as well, or just on your device?
Yeah, it runs fine on the runs fine on the Steam Deck.
All
So
right.
if you do have it on the Steam Deck, it's also on the Switch, I think.
Okay. Always
so
have
if
to
you
check.
if you wanna go handheld,
You know I always do, Julian. You know I always do.
Sorry.
But
I'm looking up
What's
one
up?
more voice. I don't. Oh man, I think this is like a spoiler one. Just kind of, I'm kind of looking at this character, but man, the character that Alex Lee voices is really, really a good goof.
yes, that's a great one.
Oh,
That
man.
one I've only found his character yesterday, and it was really funny.
all right.
Because he does. Oh, okay. Well, that's a spoiler. So I'm
Don't worry.
I'm
We'll
not gonna
have
continue.
we'll have a spoiler cast eventually. Actually, boys, today, since you two are on the show, Mark messaged me saying that he finished Clair Obscure
Oh, nice.
just earlier today. So he's also kind of jonesing for the eventual spoiler cast that
Oh yeah,
we should
definitely. I'm
probably
down for that.
get around to
Mm-hmm.
at some time. But you know what? Speaking about, genres that we may or may not be, well versed in. But Matt, Julian, my partner and I beasted an anime, or at least most of an anime, in the last, I want to say 2 or 3 days, where I believe there are only 25 episodes out in between the 2 seasons. And so far, we've watched around 20 episodes. We picked this one up because, Matt, surprise, we still don't know which season or movie of Haiku to watch next. So we decided on starting Solo Leveling. And that is a shonen as shonen that pretty much ticks every trope that I would have expected a shonen, especially in 2025, to check. Where I think after the first few episodes, I have to admit, I couldn't tell if I actually liked Solo Leveling. Mostly because I honestly feel like this is a notable power fantasy that if you told me that a 12-year-old wrote, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Just because from everything of our main character, our boy Sung Jin Woo, from his origin story of being starting out as a weaker E rank hunter, and his gradual growth to his reawakening into what he soon becomes a S rank hunter.
Hmm.
Uh, Even that seemed a lot cookie cutter to me, but at the same time, I feel like it's it's easily digestible that out of like all of a sudden we're 20 episodes deep and we're really coming to the finale of season 2, and I'm not sure if season 3 has been announced or confirmed, but considering all the discussion I've seen around it through osmosis, I do think this is quite the popular one. But
Hmm.
Matt,
Hmm.
what I had to ask you, I think you've had more experience with solo leveling, but what are your general thoughts of it as a story overall, and maybe even the anime if you watched it?
Hmm. I mean, overall, I think and I said this before, I guess, like on, I think not the show. I think specifically a video about solo leveling on our
Right.
YouTube channel, but in general, like I think solo leveling is the quintessential shonen anime.
Hmm.
Like I think like this is as shonen as you get in 2025. This show is not doing anything, particularly impressive with its plot. I think like this is a very cookie cutter plot with very cookie cutter like plot points and progression, but I think the execution on the shonenness of it is what really makes it shine. And I don't know,
Hmm.
I as a property overall, really enjoyed it for that. Like I am always really happy to see like really good execution of a very basic concept.
Where I think what it's also doing for me, and maybe it's the reason why I stuck with it, at first it was giving me a lot of the same initial feelings that I had with One Punch Man,
Mm.
where you have this kind of sleeper, overpowered character. Um, Julian, it's actually similar to our boy Matt here. You have our boy Matt who can surprisingly lift a bunch of stuff, but is low key about it. And I do like how through his trials and tribulations, or through Sung Jin Woo's trials and tribulations, we do see him, of course, leveling up. But it's the fact that he's able to get more and more recognition of his skills, where it's almost like he's becoming this myth like legend. And we're seeing all the different reactions to it, which I think really adds to that kind of voyeuristic feel that you want to see out of a properly or show like that, where you want to see this protagonist who's working hard in turn get, you know, recognized for his hard work.
Hmm.
And I feel like with One Punch Man, I never got that feeling of satisfaction of, oh, our boy is getting the looks, is getting all the attention of all these different agencies and guilds, and they want him on their rosters. So that's one thing I feel like solo leveling has for it. And the other, it's true. I dropped One Punch Man season 2 just because I thought the animation, the production was, wasn't as good as the first season, where with at least the second season of solo leveling, it's not, to me personally, anything of note. Maybe it's just because I still hold Demon Slayer in such a high regard, but it's still visually appealing enough. It still has a good enough spectacle where I kind of do like what is being presented, and the quality has been able to, stay at that same level throughout the 20 episodes I've seen so far. But yeah, when it does get to the story, I don't know. Sung Jin Woo as a protagonist, I do like his more, public facing persona, but once you get to him being this RPG character, the player character personified, and it is kind of this dark, gloomy character that does seem like he's written by a 12-year-old trying to fulfill a power fantasy. I think that gets a little eye rolly, but for the most part, really do like the characters that they're introducing. And I'm also actually surprised that there are a few plot points that I feel like season 1 um, set up that while it still exists in season two, I feel like it keeps getting delayed. Where I think, a bit of a spoilers, but there's this central conflict where there's this one particular S rank hunter that wants to hunt down Sun Jin Woo for killing his brother. And I feel like for something that comes up every now and then, especially through season one, I feel like that story point in particular gets getting pushed back to the point where what little progress that does get, I feel like it still plays second fiddle to another story point. So I think that's also surprising, where I'm not sure what exactly it wants us to focus on. Much like a traditional RPG, what exactly is the main story compared to all these different side quests? And it kind of turns out everything is a side quest as well. But Matt,
Hmm.
in terms of solo leveling, just in general, were there any characters in particular, not necessarily our main boy, but just anyone in particular that you kind of uh, really liked or just found really interesting?
Oh, Jared, I'm bad at character names, but
Yeah.
I actually really like the, what do you call it? The kind of like association president, the old man. I kind of
Yes.
really liked him as a character, and like I like the old strongman, like retired old strongman trope a lot. So like he was really really hitting for me.
I like in particular, I think it was around episode 19, episode 20, when Sung Jin Woo has revealed that to the public that he is an S rank fighter, and he
Mhm.
kind of turns down the associate president. And it's just that reaction of, damn, if I was only 20, no, 10 years younger than I was now, I would be fighting alongside this man. And just like, that's such a shonen
Uh-huh.
trope
Mhm.
that, again, I'm so into it. Where, if I had to admit though, one thing that I'm kind of longing for, Matt,
Mhm.
Julian, damn, where are the romance subplots? You know me, I love those. And I feel like this series so far has, propped up the potential love interest for Sung Jin Woo, but nothing comes into fruition. Matt,
Uh-huh.
does our boy find a relationship by the end of the story?
Um, yes, he does. But Jaren, I think I hate to bring this, break this to you, but this has about as much romance as Dragon Ball Z. The love interest is basically treated, I think, at the same level as like Chi Chi.
Oh. Wait, not Bulma and Vegeta level, but
No,
Chi.
no,
Oh,
Chi
no.
Chi. I think it's like a Chi Chi level, like romance relevance to the plot. Uh-huh.
That makes me feel real bad,
Uh-huh.
man.
I think that I think
Real
they care
bad.
about each other at the Bulma Vegeta level, but this is exposure wise is a Goku Chi Chi level in terms of plot.
Oh man. But have to I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but was there a solo leveling game announced recently or kind of in the works? And
Yes, I think there's a couple solo
okay.
leveling games, but I heard that they're all like quite middling.
I feel like that's always what happens when it comes to these anime properties that become games. I still think
Mhm.
I'm longing for a really good Demon Slayer game, and I think I'll continue to long for something that capture the highs of solo leveling. Just because, I think the premise of, hey, there are these different gates with monsters from this different world, and we have different ranked hunters trying to conquer them, clear them out. And I feel like you can definitely have a really, really competent game just with the foundation laid out with solo leveling.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I feel like competent anime games are few and far in between. Where don't think we would get that at all. But
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
most are just like arena fighters, aren't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
and not even like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of arena fighters, especially guys that JJK cursed whatever arena fighter I played a few months ago still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But
I feel like
yeah,
yeah,
so
I feel like
what's up,
solo
Matt?
leveling would probably just, in terms of games, probably most well lends itself to like the Muso games. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like other than that, I don't see how else you can really incorporate, I guess, the essence of solo leveling.
I feel, yeah, unless Not
Hmm.
Julian. Okay. Let's go back to Saturday Morning Arcade Season 2.
Okay.
What if you don't play as our boy Sung Jin Woo, but the whole game is you being a guild master, like an up and coming guild master, where you're kind of recruiting heroes and tackling on different dungeons or gates, which has your roguelite elements, where you're kind of instead of building one character, you're trying to build up different teams. Like, I want to build up an E rank team. Okay, now I can build up a D rank team, and so on and so forth. And then I'm getting equipment to equip my guys. And then there are management aspects where I'm sending out teams if I don't want to go in myself, and then they're
Hmm.
coming back after 12 hours. Where I feel like the management aspect also has potential to do something. Plus, again, it's the nature of all of these different gates are popping up and you traversing them. And then you can also have your power fantasy with your solo leveling player insert. But overall, have been enjoying my time with the solo level anime. Again, 5 episodes, and hate to admit it, boys, but my partner can't watch it until Thursday by the time
Yeah.
this episode comes out, and I'm fighting. I'm fighting not to try to watch those last 5 episodes. But Matt, did you finish the web novel or the manga version?
Yeah, I finished the manhwa for it. Yes, it's like a very enjoyable
Okay.
read. It's a very enjoyable read.
Okay, and it's done, correct?
Yes, yes, the initial part of it is done. They did a spin-off sequel with
Okay.
with Naruto's son. Sort of vibe
Amazing.
to it.
Okay, and in terms of, on air anime to manga, with the first 2 seasons, how much of the manga does that kind of encapsulate?
Oh, I can't actually even remember. I think maybe at the end of season 2, you're probably about like, I want to say you're a little bit shy of like 50% of the story.
Okay,
Like maybe in the
not
40,
bad.
50 range. I would expect, like, at its current pace, I would expect solo leveling to be like 5 seasons long.
That's fair. I'm also surprised that both seasons are like 12, 13 episodes, which I thought this would be a beefy boy, like 24
Hmm.
episodes per season. But yeah, really enjoying my time right now. Wish there was more romance, but that was the Jaren review of solo leveling. But Matt,
Hmm.
Julian, real quick, speaking about things that are real quick, there was a new Fortnite mode update that came out this week called Fortnite Blitz. And boys, this one is the way it was promoted was this was their quote unquote mobile friendly version of Fortnite, but this is playable on the different platforms as well. And of course, mobile, I believe, gets mashed up with mobile and Switch One players, where everyone else gets put into the other Fortnite pool. But, don't quote me on that. But with Fortnite Blitz, this is supposed to be your bite sized Fortnite experience where it's a really condensed map, mostly like 4 points of interest based on, previous seasons of Fortnite. 32 players per round. And essentially, when you drop, you get a medallion. Everyone gets the same medallion, and these have different passives. Like, oh, you're constantly reloading, or your attacks have health siphon, or just stuff like that. If you played Fortnite, there are these different boss medallions, and you essentially everyone starts off with the same medallion. And as the match progresses, each storm circle, everyone's gifted another medallion and another medallion, where you start off with a weapon, more higher quality weapons are just already found in the game. So these are matches that are supposed to last anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes, like bite-sized
Oh, okay.
Fortnite experiences, really fast-paced. And everyone starts off with 2 bubble shields. So Matt, were you ever playing Apex when it was just a bunch of gibby bubble spam at the final circle?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
That,
that.
that
Uh-huh.
that's essentially what the final circle of a Fortnite Blitz game
Nice,
is.
nice.
But I do feel like that despite it only being 32 players and it having just really quick rounds, boys, I still think each time you drop into a Blitz fight, it's going to be a majority of bots per match. And once you get to the final four, it's the most sweaty I've had in Fortnite in a while. And maybe that's just because this is such a condensed version of Fortnite where it is. I can't stress that this is just gibby bubble fights by the time it's you and the other person. And likely that person is sweating their hair out because sometimes I can't keep up. But again, it's something fun, it's something fast paced, and I think it's really getting me back into that competitive Fortnite feel. And the reason why I also wanted to bring it up was just because, Matt, I finally tried the Joy-Con as a mouse for Fortnite.
Mhm.
And after, I don't know what it is, but I felt like I was able to hold my own on Fortnite Blitz on the PC. But the moment I started playing on the Switch, especially with the Joy-Con mouse controls, I was dying real quick, man. Maybe the bots were actually getting to me. But I think the issue is my muscle memory with a mouse is so used to that being paired with a keyboard where playing Fortnite or just using the mouse as kind of your aiming reticule, it feels like you're playing with a MMO mouse just because you're still expected to use the face buttons for all these different abilities. Like that's how you jump, that's how you reload, that's how you switch your weapon. Things that I'm used to doing with my left hand, I'm still having to do with my right hand. But since the fact that it's kind of tilted to the side, it feels kind of a bit awkward to me. Where fidelity wise, I think it is comparable to, your mouse experience because it is essentially a mouse. But at the same time, it just goes against my muscle memory that it makes the whole experience a bit weird. Where, there's also the fact that it's such. We've all held a Joy-Con, and a Joy-Con for the Switch 2 is essentially the same size, where it just doesn't have that mouse support you want, where it feels like a lot. I don't know, it feels like I'm kind of tipping it over from side to side when I'm like trying to go really fast, where immediately after my fourth early elimination from Fortnite Blitz, I immediately messaged our pal Mark and asked, hey, so are you going to 3D print a mouse shell for your Joy-Con 2? Like everyone's doing on TikTok right now. Where I think if you did have a proper shell, it would be a lot more manageable. But at the same time, it's just the fact that you have to get used to it. That really goes against your mouse and keyboard muscle memory. So I think it does work for the most part. It's just something that will take some time to get used to and really needs a mouse shell to get the most out of it. But
maybe this is me being
what's up?
Me being dumb here, but I can't picture how you're using the mouse. So okay, so you're holding in your right hand you're holding the mouse. You're holding the Joy-Con as a mouse.
Yep.
In your left hand, is that also a mouse, or is it like you're holding it like a normal?
I mean, you
Joy-Con?
Can make it a mouse, but I went into
two mice. Oh, two mice.
I'm not doing two mice. I'm doing like just one as. I'm doing it like a Wii remote or the nunchuck. I forget what it was actually called for them.
You have the stick, so you're moving with the stick on the left hand, and then you're aiming on the right hand.
Yep.
How are you jumping?
I have to press A on my right hand, which is how.
Oh, that's weird.
How does that work? Wouldn't you? I don't know. That feels weird.
It feels. That's why I'm saying it goes against your muscle memory, and it feels like I'm playing Fortnite with an MMO mouse. But again, I'm used to jumping with my thumb on a mouse and keyboard.
That's what I'm saying, right? Because on the keyboard, you would just be like any buttons you would be pressing on your left hand.
Nope, it's still weird, the right hand, and that's why it feels awkward. Where I think maybe for something like Splatoon, it will work, just because as vying for number one Splatoon fan here on this podcast, I don't remember anything about Splatoon, Matt.
Oh man.
Where I think it would work for Splatoon when you're simply just holding down the right trigger to shoot, and then you're, I don't know, going into squid form with your left hand. But yeah, it is the fact that you're trying to jump, you're trying to reload, you're trying to do whatever B and triangle or whatever the buttons are on the Switch are, those placements are, it feels like a lot more work. So again, maybe if I was a child who was starting out with this play set or this play style, I'd be more accustomed to it. But it's the fact that even playing with the gyro controls with a traditional controller feels a lot more natural than just trying to mouse it with your Joy-Con. And maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
Where you
Yeah,
can
because I assume you're playing like no builds. So
yeah,
like I can't
Blitz
even
mode
picture
is-
factoring and building.
Yeah, with that, where I don't know, you can go to the options for Fortnite and make the left one a mouse too, but it's like, what's the point in that? I don't. Matt, I'm gonna go experiment for next week. I'm gonna make the second Joy-Con a mouse
Man.
and see what playing Fortnite
man.
with that is like, and I'll report back
It's
to
like
you boys.
it's like equipping two shields,
Yes.
two mouse situation.
Do you guys know what the Azeron Cyborg is?
No, is that a mouse?
Azeron Cyborg. Oh yeah, the hand that's like, it's like a mouse, but it's like a hand.
Yes. It's a
Yeah.
left-handed keyboard replacement, and it's basically a shell that you put your hand into, like you're putting your hand into like the Gom Jabbar sort of like box thing, or the box from Dune,
Yeah.
and you just have like 25 or so buttons just at your like fingertips, and then you have a joystick at your thumb. And I really, really want to buy one of these, but I think kind of similar to what Jared was saying, like I am kind of hesitant towards the, what do you call it? One, the muscle memory that I'm gonna have to relearn to use one of these things. And second is that I use my thumb to jump when I'm playing computer games
Yeah.
to hit the
Yeah.
space bar. So I don't know.
But this seems easier to relearn though, because all your buttons are still left hand. So your focus for the right hand is still like aiming and shooting and stuff.
Mhm,
It's just
mhm,
you're just now prioritizing movement with your thumb.
mhm. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Because I
Yes.
couldn't really come to a consensus on what I thought would be good. I've sent you guys a picture of the cyborg. If you were to use this, where would you put the jump button?
Oh,
Middle finger?
Middle finger, just the button, like the straight button on the middle finger?
So okay, so I know it's like a hand that like it's like curled kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Like, do you press? Is there two buttons where you press down and then you press up?
There
Are
are
those like two
each
two
finger.
separate buttons?
Each finger
Yeah.
can give you 4 buttons, I think. There is the, if you're looking at the picture I sent, there is the kind of black part of it that goes straight forward. If you were to put your finger into it,
Oh, like
works
it
just
goes
like a key.
inside.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
there's these 2 flippers on either side of your finger. Those are both buttons.
Right.
And then there is a button above your knuckle, the part that curves over. You can hit it with the top of your finger to be a button as well.
Like your joint, like your. Oh, I don't know. How do you
Mhm.
hit that?
Like you kind of lift your finger up and you hit it with like your first knuckle, like the one that isn't attached to your hand, the one that's like after it, like the the part that you, I don't know, knock on a door with.
Okay, for jumping, then I would do 4-finger push in. Like that would be like my just like my pressing, like I'm pressing like a doorbell kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know if you play like me, but when I'm playing like MMOs and stuff, like jumping is kind of like my stimming.
Okay, I feel. I mean, you know, when you're playing with you're playing at MMOs, you have to jump everywhere anyways, so you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so it's kind of like I need like something that's like easy access, you know? Like that's
feel.
man, this is just like really reminding me how my muscle memory is kind of ingrained in my head. Where have you guys ever? You guys know the fight stick, you know, the hit boxes, right? Where all the face like there's no Joy actual fight stick or Joy ballpoint or stick, whatever, and it's all face buttons. And I thought that when I first looked at it, it was always weirded out to me that the big main button for your left hand was the up, essentially up on the D-pad was below the left, down, and right of your main fingers. And I thought, oh, that doesn't make sense. Why would your thumb be up but still, placed below the quote unquote direction buttons? And then I played with my friend's hitbox, and I thought, oh, wait, it's because this is essentially up being translated to jumping with a space bar. And then I found like a hitbox kind of a lot more intuitive once I got my hands on with it, as opposed to kind of watching it. So when you ask that question, Matt, of where would I put a jump button on this claw mouse, I honestly can't tell where. I think the next most natural thing would be something to do with my middle finger, just because I'm pressing up on, the WASD on a keyboard. Where I think it would be one of those actions with the middle finger. But Matt, where would you put your up on this claw?
I was also thinking the middle finger or the ring finger main button. Either of those ones is where I was thinking.
Ring finger. Oh, that's a crazy one. That doesn't feel natural at all.
Because like my thought there is that then I can use. I think my middle finger and my pointer finger are my two most usable fingers in terms of dexterity, and I want to be able to hit as much buttons with those as possible, because there's like some of those games where you have to like do some bullshit while you're jumping, like if you want to do a super jump you have to hit like I don't know, crouch and like jump and some other stuff at the same time.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
Man, that's wild.
Okay, middle finger flick down.
Ooh, I feel.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's actually a good one.
Because I'm like doing it with my hand right now. I think a flick down is a good good natural motion.
No, yeah, I see that.
Man, I don't know. You know what I always think about? It's really weird. How just like dexterous my like left hand is after years of playing like Rock Band and Guitar Hero. And then those random days where I would try just lefty mode out of boredom, and then I just can't process playing Guitar Hero with like my right hand. Where I'm also curious. Maybe that's why I'm not good with first person shooters on controls anymore, just because my right hand hasn't kept up with my left hand when it comes to button pressing as well. Where plus, I don't know, the fact that with Fortnite, just being able to jump around and then go into your, 360s or your 180s just to quickly respond to someone, that's a bit awkward when you have to jump with your thumb and then fiddle with your right stick. So I don't know, maybe I'm just bad with the controller. I'm bad at video games, but you guys knew that as well. But yeah, that was Fortnite Blitz. It's pretty fun. You're probably going to get stomped by sweats, but hey, if you want a quick Fortnite experience, might be something to check out. And if you're trying to use your Joy-Con 2 as a mouse, maybe get some sort of shell to help, with that kind of foundation to make it a bit more sturdy and less flimsy. But Matt, you also had some Switch 2 thoughts in mind that you wanted to kind of bring to us this week.
Yeah, because this week we had the kind of Donkey Kong Bananza Direct, right?
Yes.
And I'll be honest, the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct sold me on the Switch 2 more than I think Mario Kart World did. But
yes,
I am still enough on the fence on, getting a Switch 2 that, I still haven't pulled the trigger. Wait, Julian, do you have a Switch 2? I can't remember if you said or not.
No,
okay.
I was thinking, I was looking at it at Costco, because the Costco here has a lot.
And
I was like, oh, should I get it? And then, I don't know, there's nothing I really want to play on it. Like,
see, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
But I know that I am like 99% sure that I am going to end up with the Switch 2 at some point anyways.
Me too. It's just like, when is the question, right? I think for me.
Okay, I'm glad that you think this way too, because my thought now with how things are kind of going in the world in general is is the Switch 2 the cheapest it's ever going to be right now? Because I honestly believe that there's a real chance that the Switch 2 goes up in price.
I thought that was going into a darker direction. It's like, is the Switch 2 the last Switch? Like the last system we'll ever play?
Nah. Guys, do you think there's gonna be also? Do you guys think there's gonna be a Switch 3, or do you think they're gonna change it up?
Oh, loaded questions there, Matt.
Oh,
but yeah, Julian, you take this first.
Okay, so first one, cost. Honestly, probably thinking about it. Because, like, the PS5 is how old, and it just kept getting more expensive.
Yeah.
So I assume this is probably going to follow a specific pattern, too, where this might... Damn, I think you just sold me on the Switch, too.
Oh, man.
Where, yeah, just to kind of piggyback off that, during the lead up to the Switch 2, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but following all these different kind of gaming and news outlets, and just given the current state of world trade and this notion of the tariffs, and just kind of the uncertainty of how much something to import products into particular countries will be, and in turn, how that would affect neighboring countries or even countries across the sea or across the pond or whatever you would like to say. Where that was a big talking point for a while now, where once the stock that has already been in the United States has been depleted, just because I think for a better part of the year now, they've just been shipping a lot of Nintendo Switches into the United States, I believe. And there was always this discussion point of once that initial, that stock, that vault of Nintendo Switches has been sold out, depending on the state of, the world, there is a chance that these might go up. And even when the prices of the Nintendo Switch 2 were first revealed, and then pre-orders were delayed for a couple of months here in Canada and even in the United States, there was a lot of uncertainty where, yeah, even if right now the Nintendo or the PlayStation 5, I believe it had a temporary price cut, but just a few weeks ago, we saw that Xbox increase the prices of their consoles, and we're 5 years deep into this generation as well. Where, to your point, Matt, if I had to be honest, I kind of bought into that fear mongering of there is a potential that once the Switch 2 has gone through the initial shipment, that it might go up in the fall or sometime next year, where even if the launch lineup was pretty fragmented, wasn't seen as particularly strong, I feel like from all the different podcasts and enthusiast outlets that I followed, a lot of people were kind of trying to buy it in this future proofing type way. And again, this might just be buying into fear mongering, but from the way I've heard people talk about it, there was just a really real possibility that it would go up in price rather than go down, within the year, within the next 2 years or so. So I think financially, if you're comfortable to spend it and you don't want to risk it, maybe that might be something to consider. But I'd be lying if I said like that wasn't part of the reason why I wanted it. Sure, I was sold on Mario Kart, and I'm still playing Mario Kart, and I still think I'm looking forward to that Sonic game a lot more now that I've played my fair share of Mario Kart World. But yeah, I think there is a possibility it might go up. But to your second question, do I think there's going to be a Switch 3? Depends how this generation goes, is my opinion on that. Where, boys, maybe you should consider playing or buying a Switch 2, because, hey, we'll have a crew for the Dust Bloods next year. So that's also a benefit as well.
You're not playing Dust Bloods.
Fair enough. But Matt, you brought it up. There was a Donkey Kong Bananza Direct this week. Boys, what do you think of Baby Pauline being your partner, or Donkey Kong's partner throughout this adventure?
Jaren, I was actually quite surprised that Baby Pauline was there, because I think I was not a part of the. I was never really looking into Donkey Kong Bananza.
Or the leaks, yeah.
Well, yeah. So I genuinely thought, oh, you know what? The previews have Donkey Kong going around with like this rock monster. That totally lines up with exactly what I would expect a Donkey Kong game to have, and to have it be baby Pauline is straight now weirder to me because I think
Right.
I bought into Rock Goblin.
Did they
Mhm.
try to hide Pauline with the Rock Goblin, or is that just like the Rock was an intentional thing?
From my understanding, from what I could like grasp from the I guess like Bonanza Direct, it is that the Rock thing turns into Pauline.
Well, that's what
And
I was just wondering if like meta wise, if Nintendo
Oh.
was trying to hide Pauline
Right.
at the initial announcement with the Rock
I could
person.
see it where I feel like that would have been still a pretty big reveal, but Julian, who knows? Nintendo going to Nintendo.
hey, is Baby Pauline
I-
in Mario
I-
Kart World?
I don't think so.
Mm.
But Matt, if
Mhm.
you want to buy into conspiracy theories, Donkey Kong, one costume in Mario Kart World. Pauline, one costume in Mario Kart World.
Go.
Who knows? Maybe there's gonna be a costume drop when this game comes
Bonanza
out.
costume.
Oh man.
To give them a few more, and maybe there's going to be a new character in a baby Pauline to join the
Oh.
roster.
Jared, I telling you, Mario Kart World is Nintendo's just like live action service game.
Yep,
Oh,
I
man.
can definitely see it. Where
Are they doing
if-
like amiibos for Bonanza?
yes, you, Julian, would it surprise you if me and our boy Mark have the Donkey Kong baby Pauline amiibo pre-ordered?
Oh, okay, so it's already a thing.
Yes. It's pretty good, and it's slightly cheaper than you would expect a amiibo in 2025 to be. So, but still more than you would expect a amiibo in 2025 to be. But yeah, I think watching the direct, this definitely sold me on the game itself a lot more
Mhm.
than its initial kind of debut when we did see it a couple of months ago, where I'm a really big fan of the destructible elements and just the different abilities that you can do look really fun. Where I think the fact that it is $100 Canadian plus tax is a really big pill to swallow. Where even though I want to kind of get it at launch, just me trying to be more cost conscious. I'm trying to also see like, oh, how much are digital e-cards at Costco? Will that make it a bit cheaper? Just because I know they're not doing the vouchers anymore, which is also disappointing.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, but yeah, Matt, anything else from the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct that stood out to you that you're kind of excited to get your hands on eventually if you do pull the trigger?
I mean, I think Donkey Kong Bonanza like definitely did get the kind of Odyssey treatment for as like a game, and I think I don't know. I guess like overall as a package, like the game just looks very interesting to me. Like the destructible environments is like interesting. They showed that you can build environments, which for some reason didn't really appeal to me quite as much because it does look kind of like chunky on how you're building the environments.
Yeah.
When you look at this game as outside of it being a game, it is really wild that Donkey Kong is like rolling up to these monsters, tearing off a piece of their face, and then beating them to death with it, which is kind of wild for a Nintendo game, I think. But I don't know. It
Fair.
looks
That's fair.
interesting, and the kind of I don't know. It makes me have some Banjo Kazooie feelings when I look at Donkey Kong and Pauline riding together.
Julian,
What does it say
this-
about the lore, though?
Yep, I was going to ask you,
Because-
Julian.
What does it say about the lore? Because
Oh.
Donkey Kong kidnaps Pauline,
I
but now like they're friends.
I like. Okay, I was thinking of this as well. I like the new theory that Donkey Kong isn't a person; it's a title, and that this Donkey Kong is our Cranky Kong. And
Well, okay, so that has been like a thing where like
uh-huh.
the Donkey Kong with that was facing Jumpman
Mhm.
in like the first like Donkey Kong
Yeah.
was Cranky Kong, but that was only ever mentioned in Donkey Kong Country, which Nintendo like famously hates.
Oh man, are they uncanonizing Donkey Kong Country?
I don't know. I'm not. It's because it's weird because there are things they pull from Donkey Kong Country, but like the rare Donkey Kong games, like the rareware Donkey Kong games, like they have like some of the stuff they have taken, but some of the stuff they haven't like talked about. And also, from what I read, there is a Cranky Kong in Bonanza.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is Cranky Kong also a title?
Okay, guys, how do you feel about the idea of the Kongverse?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Nintendo, where I don't know. I feel like with all this Pauline shenanigans, and yes, even with the Cranky Kong, where Jumpman Donkey Kong is Cranky Kong to modern Donkey Kong, and Cranky Kong's here, and then there's also the running theory of, oh, is this baby Pauline the actual Pauline in Mario Odyssey, and is the reason why she's mayor of New Donk City because of course the mayor has naming powers. Does she name New Donk City after her best friend Donkey Kong?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
I never expected in 2025 that one of the reasons I'm most excited for Donkey Kong Bananza is to explore the sweet Pauline
What if
lore,
there's 2 timelines?
where
That's what I was saying. Yo, Zelda has multiple timelines, and Donkey Kong will have multiple universes.
There's Donkey Kong succeeds, Donkey Kong got killed by King K. Rool, and then Diddy Kong timeline.
Apparently, they spoiled that Donkey Kong and Diddy are maybe in this through the amiibos.
Yeah,
I didn't really catch that part, but
But wait, so if we're saying Donkey Kong's a title, is Pauline a title? Is New Donk City Pauline different than Jumpman Pauline? And is Baby Pauline a relative of one of the Paulines?
What's the lore for Baby Mario and Baby Luigi and them? Do they have like separate lore, or is that just like
I think they're supposed to be like Yoshi's Island. Because Baby Mario, I think, first appeared in Yoshi's Island, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was just extrapolating that idea. So it's them as a baby form pulled out of time if we are thinking about it in that sense.
Oh man.
So maybe Pauline is out of time.
I can't wait for the Hero of Time Link to pull everybody together for the Nintendo initiative.
Oh, that's how they announced Smash.
Man.
No, man, that's why he rebooted. Oh man, I can't believe they're doing multiverses in Smash.
But boys, where does Kirby Air Riders fit into this?
I have this theory, you guys, that before Kirby Air Riders comes out, they're going to debut Super Smash Brothers, the new Super Smash Brothers game, and it's going to start as a Kirby Air Riders trailer.
I see that.
That would be good. So you're saying that's the post-credit scene, is what you're saying? No, sorry. The post-credit scene directs you to the Nintendo Now or Nintendo Today app, because of course they want to push you to the app. And that's where you see the trailer for the new Super Smash Bros.
It's going to be a Kirby Riders Direct. And then it's going to close on Kirby air riding away. And he's going to come up again beside like Mario in his Mario Kart. And then Link on his like motorcycle from Breath of the Wild, and that's how they're gonna pull Smash.
Oh man!
Do you think when Smash comes out for the Switch 2, they can't do that? Everyone's here again, right? That's probably not happening.
I don't think so.
That was probably a one-off, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's not happening for if that ever happens again. I don't think it's happening for at least 2 more console cycles.
Oh, that everyone is here?
I think,
or are you like setting up a new everyone is here? A new everyone?
I think on Switch 4, that is the earliest I would expect everyone is back. Everyone is back.
So you think there's gonna be like the like the 3DS Smash, where it's pretty trimmed down when it comes to its roster?
To be honest, I'm expecting the roster to be Melee-ish. Maybe less than Melee.
And I think everyone's also kind of expecting if you go down that direction, you have to like change it up kind of mechanically, where to kind of have maybe more mechanics involved to make up for the fact that there's less of a roster. And if I had to be honest, when I look at kind of the jump from Mario Kart 8 to Mario Kart World, where, if you were to tell me a few years ago that they would add so many more mechanics to a Mario Kart sequel, I would say get out of here. But the fact that you do have, a Tony Hawk trick system essentially in Mario Kart World, I'm curious to see how that also will extend into the next Super Smash Brothers game.
I don't think
Where,
that works though, because every time a game tries to do what Smash is doing and try to makes it overcomplicated,
yeah,
it never works. I don't think. Like if we're thinking about like that WB game or like
yeah,
PlayStation All Stars, I think Smash can't be too serious.
fair,
I think I think it can't be too serious, but I also think that those games are also trying to not be Smash in a
right,
way where it like I think if Smash tries to add more mechanics, it'll end up even if it does get more serious, it'll end up getting better just because they can still maintain that hey, we are Super Smash Brothers, whereas Multiverse was it Multiverses?
yeah,
Yeah,
Like Multiverses, the Sony one are trying to be very different. Where
fair.
like I think like
yeah, that's
like
fair.
Smash being Smash would be able to make it so that it's okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm,
think.
I'm just kind of
Or like just be
curious
a Smash apologist.
because again, I brought it last week or when Mark was here when we talked about Mario Kart World. How do you go the Payday 2 to Payday 3 problem? How do you go from the de facto version to a new version without while still doing it justice? And I guess it's true when this is a new console, this is a new system that's already leveraged and when as opposed to just also launching it alongside its predecessor on the PC. But at the same time, I still think like it needs to do something in order to justify that character drop since again, this game is known for their characters. And then again, as we saw in Mario Kart World, what if we just put all the different NPCs as characters? It started with
Hmm.
PD Piranha, and now
I
that
mean,
everyone loves
there is a
Cow,
piranha plant in Smash.
yes. So what if it's that? What if instead, even though we're losing Link, even though we're losing Sephiroth, even though we're losing Sora, sorry, we're not losing Link, we're losing Cloud, we're losing Joker, we're losing all the third parties. But if we get Cow, if we get Dolphin, maybe it's an
Would
okay
you be
trade off.
upset if they just re-released Ultimate but continued adding new DLC characters? Minus balancing Steve, because apparently Steve broke the entire game.
I mean, that's always the
Mm.
hope, just because everyone, I feel like when you invested so much into, especially with the DLC, that roster, that de facto roster, uh, people want to continue to see those big Marvel versus Capcom character select screens. So that would be the hope. But at the same time, you would also hope that any sequel will take advantage of the Switch 2 hardware. So I don't know.
You
I'm
know,
of two minds where I do want it to continue on because I just love looking at that character select screen. I was hoping that they'd add more alters. I was hoping they'd add more characters, but at the same time, I'd want it to run better. I'd want more, you know, more game mechanics, more different modes, maybe a more fleshed out single player experience. I don't know, maybe an assist system, something uh,
mm,
that goes on. But as someone who also just enjoys playing around with the boys, especially at a fam jam, if I still went to fam jams, I think there is still, something to adding more characters. But Matt, as the
uh-huh.
self-admitted Smash apologist, what would you want to see personally?
Okay. I think I peeled myself too hard earlier when we were talking about, the alternate universe and timelines and stuff. But I think that I would like the new Smash to, like do a roster reset, but I want new Smash to have alters.
Hmm.
Um, I want, base Mario, base Donkey Kong, base Link, or whatever. But then I would want you know, Mario Odyssey Mario, where his moveset is now the hat stuff.
Okay.
Or, looking at Donkey Kong, I want base Donkey Kong, but I also want Donkey Kong and Pauline as a character.
So you also want
Or,
like Sunshine Mario and Showtime Peach, and that was her game, right?
Yeah, Showtime Peach should be interesting. Yeah, like just having
But how would that
the
be?
multiverse.
How would that be different
Cool.
though from like the Mario and the Dr. Mario from the current Smash? Are you picturing like completely different?
Yeah, different
Movesets?
movesets at that point.
Mhm.
That
I'm imagining completely different move sets. Yeah, like I would, kind of like imagine that, like for like Odyssey Hat Mario, the way that you can traverse in Odyssey by doing kind of just like a whole bunch of like bounces and stuff off of the hat, and I guess like Odyssey Mario is actually kind of hard for me to explain just because I
so
guess
let's
he
say
does,
Flood
like,
Mario
move
from
very similar.
Sunshine, for example.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna actually just go more so into like Donkey Kong Pauline and like Donkey Kong, where like you have your normal Donkey Kong, but it seems like what do you call it? This new Donkey Kong in the direct, they were kind of showing off, hey, like you can transform Donkey Kong into like these different forms, and then I think it would be interesting if Donkey Kong can switch between its forms in the same way that Pokemon Trainer switches between its Pokemon,
Okay.
or what's that? What's the Fire Emblem character's name that has a different weapons?
Blythe?
Blythe?
Yeah, something
Blythe?
like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Blythe
has his
Like
character.
has all their different weapons between them. Like I feel like that would be an interesting take on trying to make different versions of the same character within the same fighting game franchise.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and then at the end of the day, give me, you know what? What if we still have Ultimate, but we have, hey, here's Fire Emblem Swordsman number 14, but he plays like a certain Square Enix spiky hair boy. And here's Fire Emblem Swordsman number 15, and he plays like a Square Enix silver hair boy, and so on and so forth. Where boys, what if the alters are for the third party characters that we no longer have and just adapted to the different Nintendo NPCs? Is that the compromise?
Just bring back Mii Fighter just bring them all back as Mii Fighters, honestly.
Oh,
Just give more
man.
depth to the Mii Fighter movesets.
Boys, I love how at the end of the day, all our conversations go back to Smash because Smash is the game that defines our group of friends when you really, really think about it. Where, oh man, this has already been a beefy boy. I know it's pretty late for our pal Julian. Matt,
Mhm.
any quick thoughts on the big ZZZ update?
I like. I wish I knew how to play Yishuan properly.
Me too, Matt. Me too.
Also, the story's too bloated. I think that's about it for me.
I like this game. There's a lot, Matt. There's a lot more text. There's also a lot more black screens with white text to progress the story. And I think, damn, your production is taking a hit right now. But everyone, if you're interested, you should log into Zenless Zone Zero or create an account because they're giving away for their 1-year anniversary a free selector of a standard 5-star character and a 5-star engine or character weapon. So check that out if that interests you. And who knows, maybe we'll go deep into one of these updates sooner or later this. I don't know, within the next summer. But boys, this has been a Beefy Boy episode. And Julian has been joining us, even though it is pretty late where he's out right now.
That's
but
all right. I got a day off tomorrow.
that's pretty good, Julian. That's pretty good. But can't let my friends go just yet, just because we have, as per usual, at the end of our episode, the Don't Match Me challenge, where every week we bring forth to you 5 questions, and all you have to do is provide 5 answers that don't match our answers. If you want to play on normal mode, simply don't match my answer. But if you want to play on a slightly harder mode, also try not to match Matt and Julian's answer as well. Where this week we kind of started off with the fact that it is a scorcher, where at least me and Matt generally are at right now. Kind of a scorcher for Julian earlier on. But this week, I'm bringing you a heat based Don't Match Me challenge. So these
Mm.
questions, kind of have to do with how hot it is outside or just the heat in general, and maybe even staying cool. Because, question one, boys, going outside, especially in weather like this, could be pretty dangerous. But we can always take some precautions. So, question one, name something that you can wear or apply to help you beat the heat when you step outside. So, name something that you can wear or apply to help you just combat the heat outside. So, in five, four, three, two, one, if you said sunglasses, you're out.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Boys,
Ooh.
I love me a good pair of sunglasses, but Julian, what was your answer?
I thought of those newfangled neck fans people have these
Oh,
days.
Oh man, that's what I picked too.
Yeah, neck fans.
Oh
Damn.
man.
if our
Sorry.
friends out there, if you said nut fans on hard mode, you're also out. But boys,
Oh.
as someone who's been going to, stopping by Miniso quite that often, I've been seeing a lot of fans, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I should especially get it now that I'm trying to walk our dog in. Well, I'm really walking her really early or really late, aka after this recording. So I'm not sure if the fans are needed, but something that is always on my mind. But question two,
Mm.
uh, kind of an extension to the first question, but another potential answer, and that might have been an answer for our friends at home, was a hat. And, a lot of different hats out there to help you kind of protect you from the sun or just as a fashion accessory. So, question two, name any type of hat. Name any type of hat. Even if you said hat for question one, I want you to be a bit more specific. So for question three or question two, name any hat. So in five, four, three, two, one. If you said a straw hat, you're out.
Ooh, damn.
Oh
I
no.
think I'm sort of out on a
Okay.
technicality.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. But Julian, what hat did you say?
Bring back the bucket hat, I say. Or did it come back? I think it came back like a year ago.
I think it came back. I have
Yeah.
a bucket hat, so it must have come back.
Okay, well, go bucket hats.
Okay, Matt, what did you say?
Hmm. So I think I might be out because I went with a sombrero, which is a hat made out of straw, I believe.
Ooh. Okay. So let's say if you thought of a straw hat like Luffy from One Piece, you're out. But if you thought of a sombrero strong hat, if you specifically thought of a sombrero, I think I'll let that slide. I think I'll let that slide because I specifically was thinking of Luffy's straw hat.
Yeah, I
But
think sombreros
that-
are like specific.
yeah.
Yeah.
But not if you
Okay.
specifically
Okay.
said sombrero.
Because
I
there
know our
are
friends.
sombreros that aren't straw.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought they were like all straw
No,
made.
No, there's like
you're
a
still into it. yeah.
There's like a Fiesta one I'm looking at.
Mm.
I think you're
Okay,
still in it.
okay.
But you're still in it. But question three. I said this would be kind of heat related, and so far we're trying to protect ourselves from the sun. But what if your taste buds kind of enjoys said heat? Where for question three, name a food item or a dish or a meal that has the word heat in it. Heat or hot, let's say. Maybe heat might be specific, but name a food, a dish, or some sort of meal that has the word heat or hot in its name. So I'm gonna go in five, four, three, two, one, boys. This might be cheating, but I went with what I ate just before this recording. And I know I said food or meal or dish, but I personally went with sweet chili heat Doritos because I am a waste man.
Ooh.
Julian,
Good flavor. Good flavor.
what did you say?
Hot Cheetos is what I thought.
Okay.
But I'm not even sure if that's a thing.
Oh man.
No, that's I call them crunchy Cheetos, but they have a name, right? That's
Yeah, the flaming hot.
yeah.
Oh
Flaming
yeah,
Hot Cheetos.
okay, Flaming Hot Cheetos. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Okay, you went with flaming hot Cheetos. Matt, did you go for a snack or did you go for an actual dish?
I went also with a snack. I couldn't think of an actual dish that has a heat or hot in it, so
Right.
I went with Red Hots, the cinnamon candy.
Okay.
I think they're cinnamon.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess you could have also went with hot pot in general.
Mm. Oh, Hot Pockets.
Hot pockets.
Oh, Hot Pockets is a good one.
Nashville hot chicken. Yeah. Okay. There was quite a bit, boys. There was quite a bit. But when I think heat, I think of summer more in particular. And if this was like one of our animes, boys, maybe that last question was a bit too specific. So let's maybe make it a bit more broad. Boys, surprise, it's the beach episode. So for question 4, name
Oh, man.
any beach activity. Name any beach activity you would typically find when you were just strolling on a beach, or let's be real, watching that sweet, sweet beach OVA episode of your favorite anime. Name any beach activity in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boys, if you said tanning, you're out.
Mm.
Oh.
Julian, what did you say?
Beach volleyball.
Oh, good
Dead
answer.
or alive. Beach volleyball.
Ooh.
Extreme.
Fair.
Venus, whatever.
Oh man.
All right, Matt, what did you say?
Yo, I went with the anime classic, breaking a watermelon with a sword.
Oh,
Oh, dope.
damn, that's good. That's good.
Oh man.
Boys,
Mhm,
every time I think of watermelon, I think of our boy Kanji putting
Oh,
a little
man.
something on his watermelon.
The classic. The classic.
Classic.
Guys, okay, I don't. Did you ever try doing that? Putting the salt on the watermelon?
I
Yeah, I
have.
had
Yeah.
before. It's pretty
It's
good.
good.
It's pretty
Do you-
good.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
I think I don't know how much you're supposed to put, so I just end up with salty watermelon.
I did it before I saw the Persona thing. I think, like growing up,
Yeah.
I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin taught me
Oh
that.
man.
I put a little pin. I just put a bit, just a bit,
Mhm.
not too much, not too much.
Okay.
Like
I gotta find the correct balance.
picture like
Fair.
Kanji with the salt shaker, like shaking it twice, and like that's probably a good amount.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's
two
just like a lot of
shakes.
salt. That's just like a lot of
I
salt.
usually just do a shake if I had like the equivalent of a shake.
Okay.
But
Okay.
boys, if there's one thing that I associate with summer, it was I associate this with a high school memory, and I know this is like cheating when it comes to heat, but not sorry. I take that back. This isn't the heat. Don't match me. Let's put for the show notes. Let's say this is the summer. Don't match me.
Okay.
Because what I associate with summer is wise words from a friend of ours back in high school. And boys, those wise words were, this reminds me of the time me and my friends went out for milkshakes. And I don't know what it is, boys. Something about going out with the boys and the girls and getting some milkshakes always means a good summer memory for me. So for question 5, easy peasy. Name any, let's say, standard or classic, what you would consider a standard or classic milkshake flavor. So that might be, I don't know what that means to you, but let's just say a basic milkshake flavor. Nothing too extravagant, but essentially any flavor you would expect to see if you were to walk into a fast food establishment, a mom and pop ice cream shop, or just anywhere in general. Name a standard, basic, or classic ice cream flavor. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's basic, but it's me. I went with the tried and true vanilla milkshake. Julian?
Ooh.
Strawberry.
Oh, classic. Matt?
I went with what I think is kind of like a new standard milkshake, which is the birthday cake milkshake, or like cake
Ooh.
batter, or something in that like naming range.
Yeah, I would put a birthday cake in there now. Uh,
Mhm.
Actually, let's put the rules. What do you consider a classic flavor? For me, I think classic falls in between vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, caramel, birthday cake. I would consider, and cookies and cream. I would consider as like standard. Oh, and
Mm.
a coffee milkshake. I kind of also consider it as
Oh.
standard or classic milkshake flavor. Do you guys have any agree, disagree, or
I I
Um.
feel like if we're going like true classic,
yeah,
isn't
Yeah.
it just vanilla strawberry chocolate?
yeah,
Yeah. That's what I consider. If you say classic, I would
Yeah.
consider those classic. I think
fair, fair, fair.
the additional three that you said, Jaren, I would consider standard.
Okay, okay.
Mm, okay.
So,
If
well,
that
I
makes
guess I did say
sense. Yeah.
classic and standard. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
the three classics and like the new standard. Yeah, I would put birthday cake, chocolate chip, caramel, and even coffee. I'm finding nowadays a lot of places carry coffee milkshakes.
I
Uh,
feel like red velvet was standard for a while, but it's like fallen to birthday cake.
Guys, yeah, has just in general has red velvet fallen off? I feel like that was such a prime flavor when we were in high school, but now not much people
Mhm.
go into red velvet.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I think the reign of red velvet is over.
Yeah, I mean like
Feels
the
bad, man.
desserts kind of like come and go, right? Because right now the big
Yeah.
thing is cookies, but before there were cupcakes, and then there were those like crazy milkshakes that had like all those stuff on top.
Yes. Oh, and those are expensive. But boys, that was my heat hot but summertime don't match me challenge. Hopefully you survive. But I know this was a beefy boy episode, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask our boy Julian, who personally put me on to the Persona games. Julian, final word for the week. What do you think about the Persona 4 revival announcement? And do you Matt and I are kind of hot and cold on actually playing it when it comes to
Mhm.
2026. But what are your general feelings towards the announcement?
I'm pretty excited, I guess. I mean, that's
Okay.
the persona that I like. I think what I'm more like mostly curious about is, and I know like a lot of people talk about it, is like the Persona 4, I think, is the persona that has the largest when it comes to discourse around it, when it comes
Yes.
to controversial topics and things that might have been okay when it came out, but might not be so okay now. So I think I'm
Uh-huh.
kind of curious whether or not they're going to change things or whether they're going to try to keep it as like one to one
One to one, yeah.
as possible.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm genuinely curious, honestly.
I
Wait.
know that like, at least one of the things you're referencing is like probably like the kanji
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
But kind of leading into that, I honestly thought you were going to be talking about Marie. So the way that played out was really weird for me.
Well, because that's also a thing too. Is because Marie was
Mhm.
part of Golden, like just you talking about
Uh-huh.
Marie. Marie was part of Golden, and I know when it came to when they redid Persona 3, the DLC didn't come with it originally,
Yeah.
and you kind of had to pay extra for it. So like, is the Golden aspect of Persona 4 gonna be DLC? Because I'm not paying for Marie. I'm just saying. Marie can like stay out of my game, but I
I
want the extra dungeon though.
I feel like
Uh,
I every time I tell people Persona 4 is like my favorite game, I feel like I do acknowledge it is a game of the modern Personas that is the most of the time game of the three,
Yeah.
but I have to specify my favorite game all time is Persona 4 and not Golden because boys, I am anti Marie.
oh man.
I'm not sure if I am. I've gotten to the point where I'm anti Marie for the memes because when I was thinking about it earlier, like there are a lot of things they added in Golden that I like, but is it like the other stuff uplifts Marie, or is it like, or am I just anti Marie for the memes? Like I can't tell anymore.
I'll be real. Maybe I'm just a whiny baby boy, which I fully admit if I am. But I feel like Marie represents everything I don't like about Persona in that she feels shoehorned. Like,
Oh, crazy shoehorned, especially in the anime, like the Persona 4.
Honestly, it's part of the reason why I'm like also hot and cold on Kasumi as well, where
Yes.
I feel like Marie more so, Kasumi less so, where they're not super incorporated into the story, where it's all even when the other characters appear in the Marie centric stuff, it feels oddly forced. It doesn't feel natural. And I'm still butt mad about the fact that Marie's the one singing during the Culture Fest or whatever, and not Rise, because I'm
But
a
that's
diehard
only
Rise
in
boy.
the anime, I'm pretty sure.
It's all the same thing to me, Julian. It's all the same thing to me.
Because, like, she is. If I think about, like, the additional stuff, so, like, what's her name in Persona 5? I only know her,
Kasumi?
like, real name, but, okay, Kasumi. Like, I feel like she is less relevant than Marie if you
Yeah.
consider Marie's actual identity when it's revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like,
Mhm.
Marie's actual identity when revealed is tied to the main story of Persona 4, wherein a lot of the stuff they added for 5, for Royal, especially with the doctor and all that stuff, a lot of that is kind of besides the point, kind of just using the idea of the mementos and all that stuff. But it's not really tied to, like, the main story.
Yeah.
So I feel like 5 Royal is more shoehorned than Golden. But then I do have a Persona 4 bias, so that is also
Fair.
I will
I
kind
don't
of say
know. I with the exception of like Fez for 3, like Gold and Royal never necessarily hit for me as much as the original ones did, and
that.
more so with Persona 4 because it's my favorite game. I love those characters. So I'm not one of those purists that are like, oh, if they change anything about Kanji's story or Naoto's story, I'm gonna be really up in arms because that's not my persona. Like, I can give or take with that. Like, I'd be curious to see what they do to it, just because at the end of the day, I'll still have that PS2 copy of Persona 4, and that's my favorite game of the time. But I'm it's the same thing with Tony Hawk 3 and 4. Like that might not be a one-to-one remake, but if it still has the essence of what I liked about those games growing up, I don't need a one-to-one essence just or one-to-one remake because I can just go play the original. Where I want to see something modern, something up to date. Just because times change, and that's fine with me. But that's for me personally. But at the same time, I'm so anti-Marie. If she shows up in the revival, I'm instantly not playing.
No. No.
Not got to ask again. So, same stance as last week. Not really interested in this revival.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it mostly from the outside. I think I'm not gonna be playing it.
You
Fair
didn't
enough.
finish.
Fair.
Did you finish? You didn't finish 3 originally.
No,
I
did not
remember.
finish 3 originally.
Did you finish
4
4?
is the only one that I finished.
Not even
And then I got
5?
to the end dungeon of 5, and then I stopped playing.
Oh, you didn't even finish 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for
4.
sorry, go on.
Oh no, just 4 has really good media around it too. Unfortunately, oh well, not 4. Unfortunately, but I think that's kind of like it uplifts it in my head as well.
Yeah,
Because like the Persona
Mm.
4 anime, I think is really funny.
Yeah.
And they added a lot to the Persona 4 anime that wasn't in the original game, and then they did the Persona 4 Golden anime, which was like a new game plus run, quote unquote, that they kind of
Yes.
meta contextualized into the anime, which made it kind of like fun as well.
which I
And
kind
then
of
I
like.
got
I,
it.
I wish more things did that. To be honest, I like that as a concept.
Yeah, and then like I gotta say, like Persona 4 dancing, like dog walks all the other like dancing games.
Yes.
Like Persona 4
Mhm.
dancing is I don't know what happened with 3 and 5 dancing. I don't know if
Yeah.
they didn't get the same like composers or whatever. Or well 3 like their songs I don't know. I guess 3 I think 4 has the most upbeat songs, so maybe
Yes,
that makes
yes.
sense, but 4 songs and composition and the fact that it has a story mode is like leaps and bounds over 3 and 5 dancing. And then you have 4 Arena and 4 Ultimax.
Yep.
And I think like a lot of the media around 4 also uplifts it for me. So maybe I don't know. It's kind of a hard bias to beat in my head.
Yeah. Where I think I need to still play Strikers, where I know everyone balked at the fact that, oh, Persona 4 Dancing All Night's technically a sequel to Persona 4. Why would you do
Yes.
that? But I think as a fan, and maybe again it's biased, but I thought it respected those characters well and it told a nice story where I should really go back to Strikers. And I guess this week the Persona 5 Gotcha game comes out, so I guess I'll report on that next week after I reroll a bunch as well.
Is that a continuation of the story? Because I thought it was just like a retelling plus
I'm not
these new
sure.
characters.
But Matt, will you re-roll Persona 5 Gotcha with me this week?
No, Jaren, I think I can only stick with one gotcha.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But boys, I want to thank you for joining me this week. Kept you for longer than I thought I would keep you, especially when we talk about Smash, when we talk about Persona. But as always, I want to thank my best friend for joining me this week, editing this podcast, and also helping me move, Matt Alba. Once again, thank you for your friendship.
Yo, thanks, man. And as always, I want to thank you for hosting this episode and bringing us the Don't Match Me for this week.
No props, no props. And also, I want to thank another one of my best friends this week for joining us and also telling us about Date Everything and his thoughts on Persona. Gotta thank you, Julian. Thank you for being my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to be here. Everyone, date the chair because I also like the chair.
Okay. Boys, I want to thank our boy Charlie Tanoku and that sweet, sweet box art for Persona 4 Arena Ultimax because, boys, I think that's my favorite box art of all time.
It's
And I'm
such a
just
good
gonna leave
box
it at
art.
that.
That intro too, like the intro song and the intro box art.
Yes. Where, Matt, Julian, final words of the show. Do you think we get a Persona 5 Arena or do you think we're past the point of that?
I don't know.
I think Arxis is too busy with the Marvel game.
Fair.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Fair. Maybe one day after Persona 6 comes out. Julian, when's Persona 6 coming out?
Probably, I don't know, never. I don't think so. Like that is because they are doing so many like. Anyways, they're doing like so many like different spin-offs and like, are they even still interested in Persona or is it kind of just like?
I mean, this Persona 4 announcement came out out of nowhere, like bare bones. I think they're still into Persona. If they're into Joker being in a gacha game and in a Sega racing game and gacha collabs, they're still into Persona. I think better question: do we say a metaphor too?
I don't know how you continue that story. I'll be honest. I don't know if you guys finished.
No
Metaphor.
time skip. Okay, better question. Julian, should me have not finished metaphor?
Oh, you guys didn't finish Metaphor?
Nope.
No, Julie, we can't play JRPGs anymore. Me and Jared are too like brain rotted by short media or like quick consumption media.
Just have Subway Surfers running in the side or something. Maybe
Oh
that'll-
man.
So, I promise you guys, I will finish Claire Obscure by the end of summer at the very least, and then we'll do the spoiler cast with Mark.
Oh man.
But, so, you know what? I'm just going to thank Charlie Tanoku's open shirt this week. Matt, please take it away.
This is a mistake zone, and we're all out of friendship for Marie.
Never had it, Matt.